the Arsenal manager.
Arsene, you said it's never a friendly with Chelsea. I think we saw that today.
No, it wasn't a friendly. It was a game of a high intensity, and we put ourselves in difficult position just after half time. But overall, I believe we had a performance today in the continuity of what we produced at the end of the season, and that's what you want to focus on.
It's a strange penalty shootout, not just the new format, but the fact that Courtois stepped up so early to take that kick against Petr Cech. Because Petr Cech said he knew where he wanted to put it, and that may have been a factor in him blazing it over the bar.
Yeah, it's tricky when the keeper takes a penalty. When he scores, he's certainly stronger in goal, but when he doesn't score, he's certainly weaker in the goal after. So overall, it went fast, you know, and the only thing I can say are all our penalties were well taken.
You were the brighter side in the first half, but the result itself seemed to turn on that Pedro sending off, which you took advantage of. What did you make of that red card?
Well, I don't know, was it a sending off or not, but at that moment we were dominating. I felt that we had some difficult moments at the start of the second half, but after, when we were 1-0 down, it was we dominated the game. It was just a question I wondered on the bench is, will we come back or not? But I think we looked always dangerous.
A good day for the new signings, Kolasinac and Lacazette. Lacazette did most, of course, the other guy scored. That's a pretty impressive start.
They look like they adapt very quickly, you know. Lacazette is going every week better, and Seat was very strong last week, and again today when he came on, he played very well.
Is Mertesacker going to be okay? Because the Premier League business starts Friday night. Looked like a nasty gash.
Yeah, I will have to speak with the medical about that. It doesn't look too bad.
How do you view the season now in terms of priorities? Does the Europa League take second place? Is everything focused on the Premier League?
You know what the Premier League is about. Every game is a battle like today, and you have to get on the edge of it and win. Sometimes not playing so well, but you have to win.
Have you got a message for the fans? They're very happy today. Do you want them to go into this season in an air of positivity, get behind the team?
Well, it is a dream to make the fans happy, a difficult dream, but we try very hard, you know, and I would like that they stand behind the team, because we might go through very good periods, or some very less good periods, but we want to be united and together through the season, and hopefully we can make them happy at the end of the season.
Thank you, Arsene. Congratulations.
We want to be united and together. There's a message from Arsene Wenger. And there was a message for the fans, actually, as well, from Alexis Sanchez, who, as you may well know, didn't link up with the squad at the same time as everybody else. He's back. Arsene Wenger said he just simply wasn't ready to play today. And he was out there giving the fans a wave and a cheer. He loved, of course, by Arsenal fans. And Wenger said this week he will stay and he will respect that, despite the fact that he's in the final year of his contract. If a player wants to leave, though, in the modern era, is it worth keeping him and then getting rid of him for free in the summer next year? Why not just take £35 million? He's worth more than that, but with a year left, you take the money, right?
It's difficult because he's so good.
So good.
If you're in Arsene Wenger's shoes and the Arsenal fans, they want to see him for another year. He's got that much quality. But I can understand where you're coming from in terms of getting the money if he's not happy. But he seems to me like he's happy there on the pitch, and you know, if he's the professional that he should be, he should give Arsenal everything he's got if it is going to be a year.
What would you do?
That's a good sign. He's gone on there, waved to the fans, and he's congratulated the players that have worked hard today. I think you're in a situation where you're just waiting for an unbelievable offer. If a silly offer came in, I think they'd have to take it if it was stupid. For the sake of like 60 million, 50 million, someone, if they did, I'm not saying they're going to put that sort of money on the table. If they did, I think they'd have to take it. But I don't think that'll happen. I think they're saying, no, you're staying here, and we're going to try and build something and get ourselves back in the Champions League and have a go at the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, if they lost him to Manchester City now, with the team that City have, I think you'd have to wonder what they're doing. Take the figures out of it, I just think it'd be a bad move. You get one more year out of him, see what you can do this year, build for the future after that, and you've got a year to look at it. He's such a high-quality player that I think to lose him now, in the position they're in, is it worth it? Do you keep him for another year, try and tempt him into a new deal midway through the season?
Well, that's maybe the thing, isn't it? You have a brilliant season, you proved to him that you're going to be in the Champions League again the season after this, and you give yourself a year to convince Alexis Sanchez Arsenal is a club for him.
There's still always a chance, you know, a bit of success, players around him, convince him to stay. But if it is going to happen and Arsenal are going to accept a crazy bid as Glenn says, they have to do it now, because then they've got 3 weeks to replace him. If they wait 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks and then that crazy offer came and he accepted it, you haven't got time to replace him.
OK, we'll wait and see how that one unfolds. We've spoken already about the energy and the pace that Lacazette brought to this team. We said in the build-up he's a guy that brings more than just goals. And he looked great today. And you said you think maybe it's Lacazette starting and Olivier Giroud coming on as a plan B this season?
I think so. We mentioned before Arsenal style. I think they've lacked since Thierry Henry, since the Ian Wright days, of a quick striker that's looking to get behind people, that plays around the box, is sharp, great touch, eye for goal, is in the right areas all the time, and they've been crying out for that for me for a couple of years now, and it looks like they might have finally dealt with the issue.
And he linked up well with Iwobi, particularly Welbeck as well, full of energy.
Yeah, he looked class. His first touch, that turn, the 2 passes that he played in this build-up, he certainly looks like an Arsenal player. He uses class. It's important he gets off to a good start. You know, Wenger's mentioned in his interview before the game he might need time to adapt, but from an Arsenal point of view, they need him to settle in really, really quickly and get off to a good start.
I think Ozil will enjoy playing with him. I think Ozil now, he wants to play those little balls, thread balls, and sometimes I don't think they've got runners. When Giroud's playing, he's faced up, he wants to be a wall, he wants to play balls into his feet. Yeah, they can put crosses in when Giroud's on the pitch, but I think this lad wants little balls played in behind, and I think Ozil and Ramsey and people like that, he'll come alive even more. I just felt there were spells where Arsenal didn't use him. I wanted to see him on the ball more. Every time he got on the ball, he did well, but there wasn't enough, and that will come in time.
OK, well, let's talk about these refereeing decisions. Willian, first of all, and the penalty that could have been given as a penalty. It was actually a yellow card for Willian. And all of you said at half-time, we think on the replay there is some contact, but not enough for a penalty. And that's confused people at home. So explain where you think the line is.
Well, it's a grey area. I think we all have different views on these things. It doesn't mean you're right or wrong as such. I think the defender slightly pulls out just in time for me. And Williams, the movement of his leg is slightly towards the defender. And it's such a small touch. I will be surprised if that's given, particularly how quickly it happens. I mean, he's gone the other way and actually booked him and sees it in the other direction. But for me, it's not a booking, but it's not a penalty.
I think from the referee's point of view, he's seen that Williams been waiting for that little bit of contact and then's gone down far too easy, and the contact not enough to make him go down as he did. But it's one of them where both arguments...
I don't think he's tried to challenge. Bellerin's tried to get out of the way. And he's, you know, if he puts his leg... If the defender goes, yeah, I'm going to try and make a tackle here, and there's contact of any sort, you're on offer to be given a penalty away. But I think he's tried to stay away from it. First of all, he's made the mistake. He overrun the ball. Normally, when you're chasing a mistake, you make a second mistake. So he's actually gone, no, I'm not going to fall for that one, and he's kept his leg away from the situation. That's why I think he thinks there's no contact. Certainly no penalty if the referee thinks there's no contact. But there was, and now he's booked him. That's the key that I want to go to the next level. If we're going to do this, which I think is great, simulation, get it knocked out. But suddenly, too much ban.
He would have had a yellow. Let's bring Mark into this because he can just clear this up for us. So if the referee makes a decision on the field of play, that's the decision that stands, isn't it, Mark?
Yes, because the laws of the game state that the referee's decision is final on the field of play, so you can't actually change the decision at this moment in time.
It's only if it gets looked at afterwards that there could be a 2-match suspension. So you could, in fact, have a situation where one player gets a yellow card, another player misses 2 matches for a similar offence, which it's not ideal, that is it, Mark?
No, certainly not. It's but the thing is, it's when it's clear and obvious. And this situation, it's a great debate in the studio, and I can see it from both sides. In live play, I thought it was a clear simulation. But after you're watching many replays, you can actually see a small contact on the knee. From the knee to the foot, and that couldn't say it's not a penalty because football is a contact sport, and where there's an accidental contact doesn't automatically think it's a penalty. So for sure it's not a penalty in my opinion, but certainly not also a yellow card because the small contact knocked Willian off balance, and that's what caused him. But you can understand why the referee gave a simulation, because it was a delayed reaction by Willian, and there was clear daylight between the two players when he actually went to the floor.
Even if small unintentional contact means a player that might have scored a goal doesn't score that goal?
Yeah, for sure, but it's just unfortunately in the penalty area today there was a situation where the small contact and what we've got to understand is there's many challenges, many bits of contact in football doesn't automatically think that contact is always a foul.
How much is this new rule going to change the mindset of the players, do you think?
We had a wonderful situation early in the match where Iwobi had the chance to clearly go down under pressure from David Luiz's foot. You can clearly see the foot go towards Iwobi. And in many situations like this, Iwobi would have went down and then a penalty may have been awarded because the referee's got a decision to make. What was refreshing, and for sure that'll improve football going forward, is that Iwobi decides to stay on his feet, and then we're encouraging. So there's encouraging signs that this new incentive and directive by the Football Association is going to work.
Yeah, but also referees have to be aware that perhaps players' behaviour is going to be changing now, don't they?
For sure, and that's probably
key.
why he could have probably delayed the Willian. You know, in real time, the delayed reactions probably made him make his decision into a simulation. But what we've got to also understand is players under the smallest contact, when they're at pace, can knock them over.
OK. All right, look, thanks very much for your company. Much easier sitting up there with all the screens, isn't it?
For sure, I think I'll sit here more often.
Good man. See you again throughout the season. Right, let's get straight down to the tunnel, because Des Kelly is there with the Chelsea manager, Antonio Conte. They're live. Des.
Antonio, thanks for joining us. We could see how angry you were at some of the decisions out there. It's a controversial game. Should we start with the Pedro sending off, that tackle on El Neni? What's your verdict on the red card, because it seemed to turn the game?
I didn't see the situation again, and for me, for this reason, it's very difficult to tell something about this decision. And but the only things that I can tell is that this is the second game and the second before an FA Cup, and now in Community Shield game that we finish with 10 men.
And do you think that's justified in a sense? Because bear in mind as well, there was the incident in the first half where Willian went down. The players looked convinced that this was a penalty, and Willian was booked for diving. It looked like there was some sort of contact. Would you agree?
No, but I didn't see. I also heard that there was clearly a penalty, and but I didn't see the images, and it's difficult for me now to tell something about this.
So what do you take from this at the end? How does this reflect your pre-season plans, and where are you?
We are working, and we are trying to do our best, and we had a tough pre-season, and between 6 days we have to start the league, and now it's important to be focused on the next game and to try to start in the right way the league.
We're a little tight for time, so I have to leave it there. Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you very much.
I totally understand he's just lost a game of football, but the season's not even begun. He looks drained, doesn't he? He doesn't have the bounce he had last season.
He hates losing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I think that's part of it anyway, and there are obviously he wants the reinforcements. It's written all over his face down, and I think he'll probably get them.
OK, all right. Thank you very much for your company today. Sadly, we are running off there. I think the highlight, though, has been these two playing together perfectly well, don't you? We've proven that it can be done. And thank you very much